Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right.
Facts
Yep.
about Mr. Hurt, and it's a lot. We we
It's a lot. Yeah.
we had to cut down a little bit, but we're still going to say a lot of things. Go ahead.
All right. He oversees publicity, media relations, and strategic communications for the school's 23 sports and is the primary media contact for athletic director Chris McIntosh. He formerly was the director of communications and brand strategy, where he worked closely with the men's basketball and football programs. He spent the last 16 years at Wisconsin, which includes being the brand manager for the men's basketball program and led the Badgers men's basketball program communication efforts from 2008 to 2019.
Mm.
He played a central role in projects including COVID-19 response, the Badger Legacy campaign. He launched Power of Us and the transition of athletic director leadership. He has served as the sideline reporter for Wisconsin's radio networks, um, and Badgers football games since 2009.
Is there more? There's more, isn't there?
Oh, there's a lot more. There's like double that.
God, keep going.
From 2014 to 2016, he was a consultant for Wisconsin athletics director and college football playoff committee member, Barry Alvarez, attending of the first three college football championship
Right.
games. Serves as MC for numerous external events, including the Rose Bowl, pep rallies, six guarding against cancer signature
Oh,
galas.
you know about that. Coach Gard talked about that.
Yep, that's his fundraiser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a bunch of other events. Um, he co-hosted a popular podcast from 2019 to 2020. It was called Behind the Badgers. And he oversaw communication efforts for Wisconsin's men's basketball program and during their back-to-back Final Four runs.
Sir, good runs.
Yeah,
We all knew Duke was going to get all the calls in the second half. They almost overcame it with Coach Ryan.
it's close.
He did
It's
what he
close.
did at UWP, where Dad coached.
Yeah.
If you can coach anywhere. I got a couple facts.
Nice.
I know that Mr. Herb used to work before the Badgers with the Kansas City Chiefs and was their manager of media relations. He also worked very closely with the players and the coaches and the staff on day-to-day ops, and that he has worked five Super Bowls and an AFC Championship game when the Chargers got in.
Mm,
He is a 2001, we're giving his age away a little bit, graduate for UW-Madison.
nice.
Let's go Badgers. And married to his wife, Lindsay, and they have two sons, Tyler and Austin. So
Nice.
go ahead. Welcome.
Welcome, Coach.
Thanks
You
for
can
having
call him coach.
me. You.
With
That's a
all
lot of
that, I
stuff.
mean,
Yeah, I
gosh,
mean,
we're used
That
to,
makes me sound busier than I really am.
I think you're just being modest. Wow, that is a lot.
So Zane,
So
how old are you?
I'm 14.
14. Okay, so my oldest son Tyler is 14.
Nice.
He's a freshman in high school.
Mhm.
He runs cross country like you do. And then my youngest Austin just turned 12. And so
just like
he's a sixth grader. And he's
we
into
are
all sports.
we are
Yeah.
living mirrors. His sister is 12 and in sixth grade. So
Yep.
yes, mirrored lives.
Yeah. All
All right.
right.
Go for it.
All right.
Is he ready? Do you
You
think?
ready for the questions?
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. First one. Can you explain your responsibilities and position since joining the Badgers?
Sure. Um, I oversee all of our communication efforts across the athletic department. So what that means is there are a lot of different ways that people interact with the Badgers, and we sort of help shape the message and shape the access to our teams. So we're the liaison to the media. So when people want to do interviews with our athletes or they want to spend some time with them and get to be able to tell their story, whether it's the TV broadcast or a writer who writes articles or press conferences. So my team arranges all of that. We're the liaison between the players, coaches, and the media. We're also really active in our social media content and messaging that we do. So we've got main accounts, the at UW Badgers handle on X and Instagram and Facebook. But then each sport often has it too. So we help shape the message on social media. we maintain the ewbadgers.com website and what the content is and what the stories are there. So the bios on the athletes and the results um, and then we're also the archivists for the team. So the school has over 100 years of athletics history, and our team helps document that. So whether it's actual scores and results and statistics, but also the photographs that are tallied over the years, and sometimes it's curating the memorabilia and things like that. We celebrated the 125th anniversary of men's basketball here a couple of years ago, and we built a trophy walk in the concourse of the Kohl Center during games that people could go through and they see the history, not only the trophies that the team has won, the Final Fours and the Big Ten titles, but also artifacts we've collected along the way. And so our team has kind of has helps curate some of those, almost like a museum would do with old artifacts. So that's a long way to describe what I do. And I get asked all the time, what's a typical day like? And I can't explain that because every day is different. So today I had some meetings, worked on some projects. I'm about to go out to football practice right now and kind of be involved in our team and know what's going on. And tomorrow we head down to Evanston to go watch the team play Northwestern in football on Saturday.
Nice. So sounds like you basically do different parts of the job each day.
That's true. That's true. And that's one of the reasons I like my job so much is that there's a lot of variety with it. Not only variety of activities of what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm writing, sometimes I'm speaking, sometimes I'm brainstorming and thinking about strategy. And other times, so that lots of activities that way, but then also I get to work with a lot of sports, which I enjoy. Um, Most of my focus is football. It used to be men's basketball. I'm still involved there some, but I do have contact with a lot of our sports here, and Wisconsin's really good at a lot of different sports, so it makes it a lot of fun.
Nice.
Many hats. It
Yes.
makes every day interesting, I bet.
Any. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got for second question.
All right. For the second one, how did college and other jobs prepare you for your job now? And what was the most difficult challenge that you faced?
Hmm. So I went to school at Wisconsin, like you mentioned in the introduction,
Mhm.
and while I was in school, I it was really important to me to try to find internships. So the classes that I took were helpful. But to me, the internships and the experience that I got was more helpful towards what I was trying to do. Um, that said, a couple of the classes were really important in my job, and when we're trying to hire people, we really look for people who can write well, not necessarily stories, but be able to articulate what they want to say in an efficient manner. And that's a skill, but it's also a skill you can develop. Um, and so I took a lot of classes that helped hone in on that. They were journalism classes here at Wisconsin. Um, but that's one of the ways that college helped a lot. But then internship wise, I interned in our athletic department, actually in the same department I'm in now. So things kind of came full circle. Um, but then I also had a summer internship with the Milwaukee Brewers, and that was really valuable.
Oh,
I enjoyed it, loved the Brewers, but I also learned I don't want to work in baseball. 162 games, always playing night games during the week was a
Yeah.
grind. And so I
Yeah.
decided I learned I didn't want to do that. Um, I also interned at an advertising agency because I wanted to get a little bit of background in the creative strategy campaign realm, and so that was really helpful too. Um, so those are kind of some of the ways that the college experience and the internships during it helped prepare me. Challenging things that I've faced. Um, you mentioned one in the introduction about the COVID pandemic. I think that's one of the most unique and challenging circumstances any of us in live entertainment had to experience. As you remember, the Big Ten decided to shut down all of its venues to outsiders, to fans and spectators and even family members. So we had the challenge for us was to create an environment in our buildings that was still had energy and helped the athletes perform, and yet also were able to deliver the product to a television audience and have it not be just stale inside. So there was a lot of planning and strategy involved in that. And then just logistically, there were even just challenges of the testing and the travel and trying to keep everybody healthy and what are the protocols. And now they're changing 2 weeks later. I was with the Badger basketball team during the NCAA tournament that year. And if you remember, Zane, you're pretty young for this, but maybe you do. The tournament was in Indianapolis and it was in the bubble. So all the teams that went all went and they couldn't in commingle, no fans or very limited fans at the games. And so we stayed in a hotel and were essentially quarantined into our hotel room for many of the hours a day. And we were kind of let out for a practice or if the team was going traveling to their game or meals were but the meals were even delivered to our rooms. That's how quarantined it was. So that was a challenge that was not super fun. But I'll point to one more. I'm long-winded as you can tell. A
No,
challenge.
this is all great information. This is why we have the show. We want to hear these things. It's great.
Okay, so the other challenge that was more of a fun challenge was I wrote a book in 2015, coming off the Badgers back-to-back Final Fours. So, and the story on how it came together is crazy. So there's a publishing company in Stevens Point, Wisconsin called PSP. No, that's not what it's called. It's called KCI Sports Publishing. And their business model is they partner with the newspaper of two teams that are in the championship, whether it's the Super Bowl, the World Series, NBA championship. So this year, let's say the Guardians are playing the Dodgers in the World Series. They would try to have a contract with the Cleveland Plain Dealer, which is the Cleveland newspaper, and the Los Angeles Times. And whichever team wins, they produce a championship book right after the World Series is over with all the articles and photographs that newspaper gathered throughout the year. And they'll might write one kind of final story about the last game. And boom, it's on store shelves within a couple weeks and
I
they're
got to
doing
jump in real quick. Bo Ryan let you do something in Stevens Point? Are you kidding me?
I don't
I
think
knew
I told
you'd get
them that part.
it.
I don't think I told
Continue.
them that
Sorry,
part.
I had to get that shot in.
So this company had a deal with the Milwaukee paper for in 2015, and they had one down in I think Charlotte. If Duke wins, they make this book, and if the Badgers win, they make this book. Well, as we know, Wisconsin did not beat Duke, so they just tear up that contract and they say, okay, I guess we don't do a Wisconsin book. Well, the publisher called me about 2 weeks later and he said, I got to thinking about it. People loved that team. They were special. The characters on the team, they did something historic that Wisconsin basketball hadn't done in 80 years. I still think that people would like a book on that. And he said, when he asked me if would I be willing to write it. And this was totally out of the blue. I'd never written a book or anything, even thought about writing a book. And I said, well, boy, I don't know. Let me think about it. He said, well, here's the catch. You'd have to have it written in 3 weeks because we want to have it on the shelves of bookstores by Father's Day, which is in early June. And so I said, okay, let me give me 24 hours to get back to you. And being somebody who likes a challenge and loved that team, I said, all right, let's try it. So I took 3 weeks off of work. I spent the first week just interviewing the players, and I went to Bo's house for an afternoon and sat with him and just put on a recorder and said, just tell me stories. And I knew most of them because I had been with the team at every step, but now I needed to somehow put them into a book. Um, and so 3 weeks later, we had a book, and it's a hardcover, 160 page book that I'm really proud of. And the most fulfilling thing for me was when it was done was to be able to give one to each of the guys on the team and each of the coaches. And the guys were 20, 22 years old. And I said, this won't mean anything to you now because you're young and silly and you just lived through it. But when you're 40, when you're my age, you're going to want this book to give to your kids and to show them and to tell people, hey, this is what it was like that magical season in 2015. So that was a challenge just because it was a crazy way to write a book, but it was a pretty rewarding one.
Wow, 3 weeks.
I wouldn't recommend it.
That's
Like that's
tough.
not.
That's
It was really stressful, but it got done.
yeah. Yeah,
I bet he didn't
I
get that much
bet. I
sleep.
mean,
Zane, have you heard of this book before?
no, I think we're gonna have to get it though.
I'm gonna you send after this. You give me your address. I'll send you one.
Thanks.
You're gonna have we have to bring it out with us, and we'll have him
Yeah,
sign it.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, I'll sign it on the way. You don't have to
There you
carry
go.
Oh,
luggage.
thank you. All right. For our third question, what are some of the traditions in the different Badger sports that not many people might know about? I know we have jump around for the football, but what are some other ones?
Traditions. That's a good question. We have a lot of hockey traditions. Hockey is a big sport that not a ton of colleges have. There are maybe 50 Division I college hockey programs. Wisconsin's got a really great hockey tradition here, and so the student section has a ton of cheers that have been traditions going back to way back when they used to play in the Coliseum. That is a lot of fun, and they love to razz the opposing team, particularly the goaltender. The first and the third periods, the opposing goaltender is right in front of the student section, and they will just mercilessly ride that goaltender, especially if they give up a goal. They chant "Sieve, Sieve,
Yep.
Sieve." Which, Zane, if you don't know what a sieve is, it's something that allows things to go through it, like a strainer that you
Yeah.
put water in and it goes through, and that's what they're calling the goalie, that he just lets things go through. So that's a pretty fun. That's always a fun tradition, I think. Um, our volleyball matches have some really cool traditions that our volleyball team's killing it and one of the best in the country. And so over the last 20 years or so, when they've been getting better and better, some fun traditions have risen at the field house. One of my favorite ones is that the starting lineups, all the small girls and boys, but a lot of mostly small girls will ring the court and when our Badgers are introduced, they'll go and they'll high five every one of the kids around the court, and then they throw a little mini volleyball. They either give it to one of the children or they throw it into the crowd. And I've always thought that's a really cool tradition we have here. Um, Zane, you have not been to a Badger football game yet, is that right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, hopefully that's going to happen soon for you because there's a ton of traditions at football. Some of them are a little R-rated. Your dad might know what I'm talking about. The student section does some things that are a little
Mhm.
R-rated, but we'll get you some earplugs.
Well, you know what? I did take him to a Boston Red Sox game
Oh
when he
yeah, I'm
was
sure you.
7, and I'll just say, even when the Red Sox were winning 8-1 and someone booted a ball,
Some colorful language.
there was some colorful language. He put it, yes. So, and without giving any names, he actually sat on the bench of we're not going to say the name, of a Division I basketball program recently, and the the coach was not too pleased. It was not UW. I tell you that it was not Coach Guard, um, but and heard some colorful language. And the trainer, I was sitting 2 rows behind. The trainer comes up. He goes, "Hearing some colorful language." He goes, "I've heard it before." So he's
One
at that
last,
age where he's in sports, he can handle it.
Yep.
yeah, one last fun one that happens at our football games. So you're familiar with the wave, right? When people do the wave
Yeah.
at games.
Yeah.
So Wisconsin takes the wave to a whole different level. It starts in the student section, and it's almost every game this happens. So the wave will start, and it'll make its way all around. And the Camp Randall is fully enclosed now. It used to be just a horseshoe. Now it's fully enclosed because they enclosed the south end. And the wave will go all the way around. And once it makes its way all the way around back to the student section, then they do it at a different speed. Then they go fast. So the wave goes at a typical pace. Then it gets back to the student section, and they go a speed one. And everybody in the crowd knows it's coming, and they go a speed one right around the way. And then when it gets back to the student section, then it goes slow, and it's a slow motion wave that goes all the way around, and everybody does a slow mo. And then when it gets back to them, then they split it. And when it gets back to the student section, one wave will go this way and one wave will go that way. And they go like this and they cross back to each other and come back to the student section. And when you see it orchestrated,
Wow.
it is
That's
actually impressive.
I've never seen that in any game that I've watched or been at, and I've been at a ridiculous number.
That
That's
Hey,
awesome.
that's impressive.
it's
That's
fun. It's
just
fun.
just to do it once, but have it as a tradition. That's
All those different ways. Cool.
Yep.
Nice.
well,
What you got?
well, we have our bonus question. What's
Wait,
your
I didn't
dream?
know about any bonus questions. Just
Yeah, we
kidding.
lied in the
Oh, this is how you get them. This is how you get them. All right, what do you got?
Yep. What's your dream vacation?
Ooh.
There's a lot of places I
Yeah,
bet.
I know. Yeah.
Wow, that is hard. Dream vacation. Okay, so
Open
I
checkbook, right? Open
I want
checkbook.
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
okay, all right.
Open.
I would want one that combines different things. So I love to relax on a beach, but on the water. So it would have to a little bit of that. I like to see historical places, so it'd have a little bit of that. And then it would probably have some sort of physical activity too. I like to, I like to ski or to golf or or run a race somewhere. So I'm thinking maybe like south of France or Italy, where you can get to a coast and have some relaxing time, but you can also see some history and maybe mix in an activity. Like so, I'm thinking, yeah, something like that in like the south side of Europe, maybe.
Nice.
What's
Yeah.
yours?
Oh, I usually say just go to Hawaii or maybe Italy too. I would like to go to Italy. I think that'd be
Have
Fish
you
really
and
been
chip.
to
cool.
have you been to Hawaii?
No, no,
Oh,
I
not yet.
haven't.
Okay,
It's on my list. Yep.
bucket list. Yep. Maybe when the Badgers play in the Maui Invitational again sometime, maybe you can go.
Don't give him any ideas. This kid goes, all over the place. Same thing with his sister. His sister actually had Coach Crum on from the women's hockey
Oh,
about
great.
a year 2 years ago. And has seen Jackie over the years at different Frozen Fours and stuff. And yeah, it's
Awesome.
cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
he wants to go a whole bunch of places, and he will.
You got a lot of time.
He
Yeah.
does.
Yep.
Do you have any questions you want to ask him? Because we're at the end of the show.
What's your are you a freshman or an eighth grader?
Eighth grader.
Eighth grader. So what distance do you run in cross country? Is it a 2 mile race?
Well, beginning of the season we start at 1.5 and then we have in the middle of the season the biggest race in New York State. It's called the McQuaid Invitational
Okay.
and that's 1.6 and then we go to 2 miles.
So what's your 1.5 PR?
Like, what was it 12 something
Um,
last year?
I think it's 12:15.
That's moving. That's moving. Nicely done. That's
Not
Yeah.
awesome.
bad.
So I think the course was a little off on ours, but that's what it said, 1.5. So
He'll
Okay.
take it.
We'll take it. Wisconsin is actually hosting the NCAA championships of cross country this year, this fall,
nice.
which is really cool. Wisconsin's got maybe the country's best cross country course. It's attached to University Ridge Golf Course, and
Huh.
our greenskeeper and our grounds crew from the golf course maintains it. So it's a beautiful track, runs through some woods, and so the NCAA loves to come here every handful of years. So November 23rd, we're hosting the NCAA. It's pretty cool, and for somebody who likes cross country, it's a fun to see some of the country's best come together.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
sounds
Well,
cool.
why don't you thank Mr. Herb? And I appreciate your time as dad. Thank you so much for taking time for your busy schedule. I'll let Zane say his thank yous and goodbyes, and we'll let you get to football practice.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, taking your time out of your day. I know he already said you had a busy schedule, but just hearing with that first question, you definitely have a busy schedule.
It's a labor of love. Thanks for having me on, and I hope I can see you guys when you come to Madison later this fall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
sounds
you.
good.
All
All
right.
right.
Have a good rest of the
Thank
day.
you.
Take
We'll see you.
care.
Bye-bye.